Very tumultuous roster for what a couple of years it has been as Xset, and then of course M&M forming, splitting off, Marco deciding he wanted to make his own organization, bringing the team with him, picking up Spoit and Iconic, some of the best players in the game. Spoit himself, a major champion a year and a half ago in Berlin. Now in America, technically M80's home ground, though none of the players themselves are actually from the States except for Iconic. Let's see if they can crush Bleed like the fans expect.
M80 have just had such a phenomenal stage 2 so far, near flawless run, and I think a lot of people are expecting these guys to be world champions at some point. Will it be this major or will it be later on? I'm not sure, but I feel like the grand final at the Gamers 8 that we saw them go up against BDS was really quite telling that this team, in the short amount of time that they've been together, is really starting to rise to the top.
That's very true. M80 is a roster with so much expectations, but also a lot of stakes. M80, if anything, is too big to fail. Now, I can't take credit for that. It's something that Carter said to me yesterday. There has been too much investment to buy two of the most expensive players. Of course, Spoit importing all the way from Europe, and Iconic previously on Astralis. But in M80's time, it's been less than a year, by the way, since this organization formed, the Rainbow Six team has earned more than 10 times the amount of prize money as their CS and Valorant rosters combined. M80 is all about Rainbow Six. This is their flagship roster, and they need to start winning trophies. They can't afford to lose games to teams like Bleed.
Yeah, we're going to send ourselves into Bank for the battlefield of choice between these two teams. A couple of the very disruptive operators being taken out through the band phase as well, both Ying and Nanook being taken out on this side of the attack, with M80, of course, starting on that side first. It does mean that they lose a couple of options in nades. Not just that, but you've got players like Kino who will very much lean into operators like Ying or any really of your disruptive operators to try and make a play and to try and have that execute plan phase or the pre-execute plan phase go his way. That really is a big fish. Why?
I feel like we're on Tinder or something with seeing a fish that big. I don't really get why. I don't understand it. It has nothing to do with the Bleed organization as far as I'm aware, but that is one damn big fish.
We're going to go down into the basement for the first bomb site of choice for Bleed. Does seem like they are leaning into the Plantanal with a combination of the Goyo C4, 2 C4s in fact, and the smoke canisters on Mentalist as well. So probably not too extensive a roam, although Asfi has brought along the castle, so it does make me think maybe they're going to do something light over inside of open area, but it's not going to be like some massive like 3-floor type of thing. Also with only a few seconds left of the prep phase ticking down, really they can't dedicate too much more. Actually, that being said, the hatches in the top floor have been reinforced off, so they are dedicating quite a bit of utility, or a little bit of their resource up into this roam game.
It is classic Bleed, isn't it, to look for a setup to play into gunfights like that. How about it? Warden might be down to a 1-speed operator, but he's still got that MPX 1.5 times scope. And imagine the very first round you play in phase 2 of a major and you spawn big Spoit. Hats off, Hoven.
Oh man, that is one way to make a statement against M80, but the round has just barely begun. Only 40 seconds have ticked by, and M80 now with a man deficit have got to make their plan work through the map. It does seem like a roam clear will be on the cards for them off the back of the vertical pressure that Gomez will be able to bring on the sledge, and he really wants to vacate out that Teller's Archives position, make sure that there's no one that's comfortable inside of the ground floor. It's going to allow Diaz some room to creep his way on in and start to get the pinch onto the plays in open.
But Turdster still remains on the top floor. Yeah, they have absolutely no idea. This is so free. 1 kill, 1 tap is all that's required. 3 players left for M80. How do they miss Turdster on the top floor? How do they have no idea that the Mozzie still roams up above? He has dropped now to the ground floor, but he's still at large. He has so many options. He's actually going to C4 himself a rotation now into lobby. Diaz was not far from this position not long ago, and he's got an idea. He may have heard that C4.
Oh, Turd's done good here, though. Even if he has heard the C4, it is going to make M80 even more distracted on this clearing through the ground floor. There's only a minute left to go. They do not have that much utility left on their side. Like, yes, Diaz could work, I guess, the hatches with some of his hard breach charges, but Turd's gone all the way up into the top floor. They need to make a decision now. Are they going to hit the bomb site or try and deal with them? And it seems like the bomb site is going to be the next point of focus.
It is a 3v5 though. Even if Turdster
Reloading. Cover me.
stays in lobby for the rest of the round, it'll be a 3v4 on site. M80 have a lot of work to be done to make this possible to plant, and clearing that bulletproof camera, that'll be the first step. They've done so. That's very nice, and this is perfect. Turdster moves far too early. Diaz reads him.
Really nice stuff there. Now they are initiating in the executors. Iconic's going to try and get the plant down, but not before being stopped by one of the smoke babes of Mentalist. Now the time is really going to be delayed out, and they need to worry about Hoven, of course, the warden. He can see through the smokes, and it's going to be lethal as they try and go in for the execute.
He is spotted by the Grimm's Bees. However, Iconic goes for another smoke, but hang on, he's taking the diffuser upstairs. M80 are deciding to change tack. The final dying moments of this round. Bleed will not go for a flank. Diaz finds his entry. Hoven's down. That's the ward, and Iconic needs to find somewhere safe to plant. He gets the kill. He must stick it now. Mentalist to clutch in the 1v2. Diaz needs to cover, but there is no such cover present. And a good clutch for Mentalist kicks this game off for Bleed.
Oh man, but what a close round that was between M80 and Bleed. I mean, there was a 3 versus 5 Turd. He made absolutely the wrong move going in for his flank way too early. And the innovation of M80 to then make that call of, okay, we do not have the time to burn through this utility. Flooding in would be a terrible idea into the Warden. Try and go for an off plant was like nearly genius. It just came down to Iconic getting a little bit indecisive in the final seconds of the round and going for a plant somewhere unsafe when he couldn't land the final kill. If Diaz had dropped the hatch even mere seconds or even half a second earlier, that would have been M80's round. And I feel like that is a pretty crazy prospect when the round looks so dominant halfway through.
I happened to catch a glimpse as well, Mandy, that there was a really strange castle barricade on the double door in the red hallway, right? So if you drop the hatch, you actually can't see red hallway immediately, and it meant that even if he did drop the red hatch, you would have had to run into CCTV to try and cover the red hallway. And it's little strange things like this in hectic moments in rounds that cause even the most experienced players to take an extra step, to take an extra second. And as we could see, there were no spare seconds in that round for Diaz.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Nevertheless, Bleed do get away with the first round, even though it was scrappy, and they're going to send us up into the top floor instead. Once again, leaning into the castle to make lounge and reception a little bit more of a stronghold for the player that is inside there. Mentalist as well, setting up some of these yokai drones as well for the late round, and just to inform how the rappel game is going as the round ticks by.
Attackers have located a bomb.
This top floor can be quite a troublesome one to defend if the attack can establish a really strong beachhead at top square. Looks like Claymores in abundance on these windows. Probably the right idea, I'd say, when you're playing against a team like Bleed.
Definitely, for sure. I would not be asking for anything less from M80 as they start out their attack. They have leaned into the double hard breach, actually, on both the Hibana and the Ace, and it does make me think that they will take their time to at least try and open up some of these walls, at least work the stock hallway, and see what they can claim. That was what Kino's drones, the Rotero drones, were doing just then, to try and at least clear off some of the utility off the back side of the wall, to see if they could then land some of those X-Kairos or Selma or whatever they want to do. He's even going to use it to try and breach the wall going into the bomb site too. So what M80 want to do here is they want to take their time on the rappels and exterior to then pick apart the bomb site, create lines of sight, and make the actual bomb site itself really uncomfortable to play in. Not just that, but they even have the grenade pressure down from below with Iconic to claim the first kill inside of Janitor.
Pivotal position as well. This bomb site, Mandy, it relies on specific positions still being up and active. And if M80 can dislodge a couple of key players, the entire defense will crumble.
Here goes Reeps, though, on his swing out onto the double window on stock. He doesn't quite land the shots he needs, and Kino on the other side is going to claim his life, but not before Turd's able to claim one on his own. Gomez, though, is going to double down for a pick for M80, and it leaves Hoven all alone in the 1 versus 3, alone inside of Janitor, but he can claim the first.
Yeah, he's found 2 kills on the round. 2 more needed. Gomez falls on back into airlock, but he's spotted on the risky rotate. All up to Hoven versus Diaz. He couldn't clutch last round. Diaz, you will have to do better now. As he picks Gomez back up, quick thinking. Hoven looks for it, but Diaz says not twice.
They've been fucking powered by Gomez.
And the score is even.
Chaotic round there for M80.
2 chaotic rounds in a row.
Yeah, very chaotic. I'm really excited to see these two teams play against each other. I feel like there's such a clash of play styles with the way that these guys play. I mean, I think M80 are one of these teams that, with Iconic being such a vocal player on the roster and coming from that Astralis roster that really did pioneer such a fast-paced play style, he really does bring such a unique approach to enable his teammates to really get in and do the dirty work. But I think on the side of Bleed, is that really the right approach that you want to take to a team that is so aggressive on the front line, even on the defense, where they're going to take the fight to you? Do you want to then play the disciplined game? And I think because there is such a clash in the pacing, it's going to be such an interesting game to watch.
I'm thinking back, Mandy, to the GK versus W7M game that we saw earlier today. And W7M love to play aggressive on their defense to their fault.
10 seconds to insertion.
And GK punished them for it. Now, Bleed, like you said, we know that they're an aggressive team, unusually aggressive. And we've seen that thus far. M80, I feel like they need to maybe take a leaf out of GK's book and look for the ways that you can punish those extended plays and consolidate advantages. Because these have both been very close rounds, remember, because the first was a 1 versus 2, and the second was a 2 versus 1.
Yeah, that's exactly right. As soon as one trade comes out, the rest of the team is going to jump right in on that action. Diaz with a very quick entry up the blue stairs, enabled by some of the drone work of his teammate in Spoit, who's actually jumped onto the Bravo. Interesting pick here, especially against the gadgets of Fenrir on the side of Mentalist. He's going to have to be careful to make sure he doesn't lose some of his activations. Oh, this is really fast drone work from Bravo or Spoit to take down the 2 mute jammers going onto the quad wall. It's going to allow Diaz, who's finally made his way up the blue stairs, to open that up. And oh, Aspie's in a world of trouble.
Yeah, he's got a Monsane right on his heels. Kino can get so much information from this position and keep threatening the unshield, but he takes a risk that is paid at his expense. Aspie has salvaged this, and he has a good position now with the Keeper barrier to defend him. One still generating now. In a few seconds, he will have that to assist. But Turdster, on this long angle, is the key player to protect Aspie and buy him more time.
Not the smartest bit of micro there from Kino. They had the opportunity to hit the bomb site, but off the back of that, they need to pivot and change their plan. And it does seem like a top floor clear is going to be on the cards for M80.
We're good here. Argus online.
Patient now for M80. It took a very risky early play, and it did not pan out. Now they have to figure out how to bounce back as a result. I'm still trying to figure out their exact plan, Mandy. They're kind of pressuring a lot of everywhere all at once, and now they know Hoven is up here in Janitor. They
really want to pinch him out. Spoit's going to come in with one of his teammates inside of Stock as well. I think that's Kino, or sorry, Gomez on the other side. Kino's dead. Diaz still holding onto this ground floor pressure as well. So if any of the roamers from the top floor do try and make this fall off, there is a way that he could try and inject himself inside of either the bomb side or looking his way inside of Tellers. But there's Hoven with a really nice C4 into Gomez to double down on the first pick. Now 3 versus 5 is a very good position for Bleed to be in, but we've seen M80 do some magic work even from this position.
It is true, but Mandy, keep in mind, there are 3 bulletproof cameras brought by Bleed. And in the late round, in a 3v5, I think their chances of making it work look grim. Iconic so close to dropping this hatch. Spoit jumps straight into the window, but the Fenrir gadget sends him to the Shadow Realm. Oh no, Spoit, you gotta land this. Shotgun v shotgun, Samo, he makes it work. 1 bullet in the tank. But he loses his life anyway, and Bleed can easily smoke them.
Much cleaner round as well from Bleed. In the man advantage, they didn't give away their lives. They fell back to the safety of the bomb site. Hoven is the player that I want to highlight in particular. He was in a real rough spot inside of Janitor. He was almost in the 3-way pinch, and then he thought the better of it and went back down to his teammates. And because he did that, he could later land the C4 into the player that was trying to get in through the top floor. And it just feels like this time around, at least compared to the basement defense that they had, Bleed played a much more disciplined game, come into the late round, and M80 just didn't have as much room to do what they wanted to do.
A bit of a momentum stopper now as we go for a quick rehost. This technical pause, you'll see none of the players talking because as it's a tech, the admins will not allow them to speak. You can't use these tech pauses as impromptu tactical pauses.
Have some replays up here as well of the last round. I think this was really the first mistake that M80 made in the round. Kino not quite managing the micro on the Monty as well as he thought that he did, and Aspie, being that his army was in a safe haven, even though it looks like the world apart the world was falling apart around him, his little bubble inside the bomb site was safe. And even though Kino took the gamble on the 1 versus 1, he somehow landed the shots. He had the high ground, I guess, some might say.
Well, that's the thing. A lot of people forget about playing shields, but if you are higher than the shield, it's pretty easy to shoot over it in most circumstances. And if you're from that shield's POV, like, it looks like there's no way they can shoot you because you see that shield in front of your face, but you have to keep in mind the perspective difference. And for Kino, yeah, a little bit of a mistake. If he had waited a little bit longer or if he had just immediately shielded back up after threatening to shoot, perhaps his teammates would have been able to assist. Perhaps he would have scared Asfi a little bit more. But as soon as Asfi found that kill, it felt like there was a weight lifted off of Bleed's shoulders. just look at this man.
He looks kind of scary. I don't know. Like,
he does.
Like in an unsettling way, you know?
No, Reaps is unsettling. You know, he actually reminds me of?
What?
You know Light from Death Note?
Oh, yeah.
He actually gives me vibes.
Yeah, he does. He does have light vibes. That is true. He just needs to eat, what is it, strawberry cake or whatever?
You're pressing my memory too much.
I don't know, something like that.
Yeah.
I wonder if we can get the photographers to do that. Surely that's like a very achievable photo shoot, right?
Yeah.
The fish is really unsettling as well. Like, what's going on, you know?
Speaking of unsettling, I think that's very much the strategy that this team have, right? It looks like we've actually moved into a tactical timeout, by the way. If you're wondering why these teams are speaking, let's listen.
It's just fun, bro. Just stay tough and punish that guy on my bro. You know, Kiki, just be on the skyline, just punish that. I don't want to push skyline. Oh. Yeah, kind of fuck, no? Okay, fine, I'm gonna move my BP to garage, so no CC BP. That's fine. Give me a multi-trap on the CCTV door. No, it's not this one. Yep. For us here.
False. You can do the 6 kappa too. Basically.
Yeah. Oh, and Kiki? No, bro, you're fine. You're fine, okay.
Interesting words from the coach of M80. Is it Bodega?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Yep.
It looks a bit different to the last time I saw him. It's just like...
I was going to say, I didn't quite recognize him there, to be honest, but...
Yeah.
Interesting words from both sides, actually. We got to hear a little bit from both teams here in this series, and Bleed, they have some small intricacies they want to change in this strategy, whereas on the side of M80, there are some very different words happening, right? Stuff about the mental game, stuff about the overall gameplay, like what they need to be doing to settle themselves, you know? It's a very different level of energy between these two teams.
Securing the fall!
It's an interesting contrast, isn't it, right? Like, Bleed are talking about... Oh, this is the castle barricade I was talking about, by the way.
It's very low level.
Yeah, Bleed were talking about, like, oh, move this bulletproof camera here. Can I have a Mozzie Pest on this door? Completely different to, hey guys, we need to counter their play style by playing like this, or, you know, stop getting in your own, things like that. It's
like a difference, right? Like, sometimes you want to make a very like top level comment to get the team back into it, but if you're already in it, you can like afford to make those like low level, small intricate details. Oh, there's a player prone. Oh, he's completely been misdroned.
No.
They have no idea that Turd is here and Spoit is about to walk in on him.
Oh man. Spoit got spawn picked in the opening round by Hoven.
If they knew he was here, this would be the freest kill. There's a player on the roof, Spoit's in. Like, there's no way they should be losing this, but they just don't have the info.
The drone went right past him and missed him. Turd has the option of a lifetime here to take down Spoit in one of the most embarrassing ways possible. He's so close. Come on, just jump on him. That's what Turd's waiting for. Patience! He doesn't want to step up because he knows how good Spoit is. Now there's another player at his window as well. Oh, 3 players on the balcony. He finds a double. Spoit trades it. But what a disaster for M80.
Oh, that is not good. That is certainly not good of a start for M80. Once again, in this basement attack, they have fallen at the first hurdle, and that's Turd in the early game. 2 rounds in a row, he's been able to cause havoc against this team, and it's all up to Gomez, Diaz, and Spoit to pick up the pieces.
Talk about how a tactical timeout needs to bring in the mental. Well, that is just about the worst thing that can happen for your team's mental. Getting taken down 2 players like that due to a missed drone. And that would have been a free kill had they known about it. Reaps takes down Spoit eventually, playing on this hatch. Quite an aggressive position for Reaps, but aggression is the name of the game for Bleed.
This team's relentless. That's their MO. That's their personality.
Recovered the bomb diffuser.
It's the way that they play the game and approach it. And even though they are in the man advantage, Reaps is still sitting there and he's thinking, okay, this is a one-way angle for me. This is defender sided. I'm going to shoot his feet before he sees me.
Bleed want to get in your head. They want to claw their way inside and remind you that they will always be there. There's nothing you can do about it. Gomez drops the hatch, but the Vulcan canister detonating on the back of that nade will lock him from peeking out.
This is a near impossible situation for M80. They're going to try and make their way down the main stairs, but really there's a crossfire that's being held by a player in garage and one inside the bomb site as well. Diaz feeling that pressure is going to try and isolate at least one of those engagements, but he'll be taken down. A three-way crossfire. In fact, Reeves trying to collect the second, but it's all up to Gomez, and he's going to be taken down by Hoven to claim a third for Bleed.
We just go.
Clean rounds for Bleed. Seriously.
Very clean.
I have no idea about my Echo Drone. If we don't... Yeah.
Here he is, Turdster himself.
Did you put a catch for CO last time, Rips? Yeah, put on the sun, put on the sun.
Intricacies, you know, the small intricacies. Mentalist is going, they don't know about my drone, like a yokai drone. That's somewhere, that's been giving them all the info. And so he's telling his team, like, play off it, you know, like go for it. And it's so interesting just how different the comms are between these two teams right now.
Yeah. But the round win reaction for Bleed is still getting them back into the mental, right? Like they're not talking strategy in those moments. They have a few choice words that, I mean, I don't remember exactly what Reap said, but it was something on the lines of, let's go, just keep pushing, like we've got this. Like it's they're fired up, like really. And I don't just mean that kind of in the basic figurative sense that they're playing well, but no, like they are playing with a fiery vengeance to them. Like they are cocky, they're confident, but that cockiness is their best ally.
That's what eggs them on, that's what pushes them forwards. And when you've got a roster that all have that kind of energy, some would call gremlin energy, it kind of works. It's the magic.
It does. When you've got players willing to be really cheeky, like Turdster, and the confidence to peak some of the best players in the world, you know, this guy's peaking Iconic and Diaz on these rappels with a 1.5. It's not easy. Look at how many 1.5s this roster's running, by the way. I think every single operator should have a 1.5 times scope, except for Asfi and Hoven. So they're ready to take these narrow engagements.
And this is where the grit of M80 is really going to be tested, right? Bleed is the team that you come up against in ranked and you just hate it, you know? You want to be out, you don't want to do this anymore. But this is where M80 needs to, you know, take their losses and move on, round by round. Turd now feeling a bit of pressure now that his castle barricades inside of reception have been taken down by Diaz. Long range on the Hibana. Doesn't quite find the kill, but at least it means that Turd is not as safe as he was before. That means Iconic can come in with his zoning utility, or they can send in some exploits utility, or whatever they need to dislodge him in his position.
Can I just say, Bleed are so good at playing these very finicky positions where a wrong foot would expose them to 4 lines of sight. They know exactly how not to expose themselves. However, Turdster will be forced to move on the back of that Capital. He still survives, even going prone. Anything not to die.
But he's been zoned out of his position inside of Lounge. And even as he tries he's found a pocket somehow. In the way back in through the fire and the flames, he's still in this position. Like you've been saying, hell in the self position. The bomb site is the top floor. There's no way for you to fall off. You just have to play that until you die. But Turdy doesn't want to die until he gets a kill with him.
He's ready for it. Now 45 seconds left remaining, and M80 have flipped. They're going for stock.
I think they kind of have to, right? They've done what they can to dislodge Turd, and they haven't been able to land the kill off the back of the Capital bolt, so instead they're going to put the pressure onto Reaps instead inside the stock hallway. But he gets the first onto Iconic. Here goes Gomez. On his attempt into Xanadon, he can claim the first, but not the second. Spoit, he's in the bomb site.
What? Spoit, what are you doing here? You're going to have to make your presence felt. There's the yokai. Spotted, taken down. Gomez finds one. Hoven and Turd have to pick up the pieces. And Hoven does just that. Diaz has gone down. There is nothing that they can do. How does he keep fighting these? Hoven's found 2. But that diffuser needs to be planted, and neither of these players have it. Kino picks it up. 5 seconds. as he forces it down. Spoit to clutch, and M80 finally give them a bit of the taste of their medicine.
Solid repellent there from M80. They did what they needed to do to make the defense feel uncomfortable, the anchors feel uncomfortable, and even though they tried to go for a pivot in through the stock hallway, the remaining players over on that north rappel found their opportunity to get on in off the back of some of that utility from Iconic, and all they really needed to do was just gun them down after that. And when you've got a player like Spoit on the roster, that's what he does.
Yeah, if there was any moment to fire up, it was right there. And he did. He looks very chill. And we're starting to hear the conversations change for M80. No more of that top level, as you were saying, that very macro, mind game and psych up guys. It's back to, all right, well, they're going to play open area again. Let's attack it like this.
Here we go. Kino once again leaning into the Monty push. Last time we saw him do this, he did try and take the tussle onto Aspie, but Aspie got the better of him with the high ground. Hopefully this time around, Kino thinks the better of it and will actually try and rendezvous in with his teammates and make that work a little better.
Yeah, the thing is that this Monty push I was a big fan of last time they did it, but now it's been telegraphed, and I think that makes it a little bit more challenging to pull off. Bleed are going to be more aware, they're going to be more ready, it's not going to be as much of a surprise to Aspie. That said, there's not a ton of util on the defensive side to counter that Monty. You've got 2 C4s, and that's just about it.
Here goes GS, the hard breach of the squad to go and open up the Kanto wall. It doesn't seem like they're going to direct him to the bomb site as they did last time around. They're going to commit themselves, all 5 of them, to the roam clear. So even though Kino, yes, he is on the Monty, it can be still used elsewhere. Turd, though, has a pretty good read of what's going on the top floor clear and already has a C4 prepped. Meanwhile, Hoven's going to be the first point of contest inside a janitor, making sure those repellents aren't so safe.
It's a good C4 position for Turd. How is he going to know when to detonate it? Is he going to do sound cue based on Hoven's position? Speaking of, it's a very awkward spot for Hoven. He decides, look, it's actually not worth the risk of staying alive here. Turdster really just has to listen for the sound of that rappel in.
Hoven's got a C4 of his own, keep in mind as well, so falling off to the ground floor means that as they do go in for the entry, M80, of course, they do have to worry about that pressure coming out from down below, and Kino can at least confirm that the top floor is in fact clear with the Monty shield at bay. Iconic as well with a pre-placed drone over in top square can confirm that no one has come back up the stairs in the presence of the roamers that were originally there.
Yeah, this is good from M80. They've been a lot more thorough, and they're really watching these flanks. They know Bleed want to go for them, but this is the thing.
Don't do it.
Turdster, are you ready for this? Oh, the timing was just off. And I think you've got to credit Gomez there. He knew to jump straight over that railing as fast as possible to get out of dodge for a C4. Diaz punishes Turdster. And for the first time, it feels M80 have a very solid advantage.
Great lateral pressure from Diaz, and Kino seeing that happen is actually going to double down on it and push his way on into Telus and have a think about what's going on the bomb site. The time has been ticking away, so there's only about 50 seconds left for M80 to go through this pre-execute planning phase. But oh, there goes Kino taking a hell of a lot of damage from Reaps over an elevator.
Ooh. Reaps is getting shot back at, though. Diaz has a very nice narrow angle. Reaps does take a little bit of damage for it. And I think Diaz's job is simply to keep Reaps at bay. Gomez has dropped into the side premature as he loses his life, but M80 decide it's go time. They send it in. Iconic for a double ass feed to take down Spoit, but traded back immediately by Kino with the Monty. It's all up to Reaps. With Kino forcing down that diffuser, Iconic's had a massive round thus far, and he needs to cover, but he doesn't get it done. All up to Reaps now, but he's up against a Monty, and he has no utility to do anything about it. He needs to get behind the Monty and land some shots. Kino's low HP, but this is a dance with death that Reaps cannot afford. That time is ticking on down, and Kino is baiting him to the opposite side of the map. He's done it! How? Kino, you played everything right, but Reaps doesn't care. He is persistent, he is incessant, and Bleed will take the half, thanks to the Chinese superstar.
I would argue there that Kino got robbed a little bit of that final 1 versus 1. He was the Monty in theory. He should have been able to play that micro game to his favor, but a stray bullet landing in his head. Low HP, it's all that he needed to be taken down. Reaps somehow landing the 1 versus 2 clutch, retaking up the main stairs, I feel like was the right play there, and I think isolating those 1-to-1s was what he needed.
Now we have some fun.
Well, at least Kino's still got a smile on his dial. As that is just about one of the worst ways that you can possibly lose a round.
It did feel a bit unfair, you know? That felt like a very stray bullets.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, these shields, we've talked about them. They can be very finicky and hard to land right. But I don't know if Reaps had the info that the player was low HP, but all it took was a single bullet. And we're likely to see here on the replay, we can have a deeper look. Iconic really did bring that round back, though, for M80.
He really did.
Here it is. Let's have a look for this last bullet. Oh, yeah. So it's the elevation once again.
Yeah, once again.
Ironically, it's the exact same thing that got Kino killed last time.
Yeah. Kino not quite showing the proficiency, I think, in the Monty marker that we had hoped for in the 1-2-1. It was, in fact, not so stray for bullet.
Did you hear what Reap said?
What did he say?
He wins that clutch and he's yelling, "I'm just better. I'm just better."
Gremlin energy in full showing in this matchup against M80, which I think is fair enough. Very much a Titan roster here in Rainbow Six, but not having quite the game that they'd hoped for. Going over to their defending half, though, they are going to choose to go down into the basement, and very similar to what Bleed were bringing along. They are leaning into the plant tunnel of the smoke and the two C4s, of course, of Iconic and of Spoit as well. See if they can bait out the plants for long enough and hopefully claim the round from there.
On the attack now, it's a very different beast. But they're fired up and ready for it. This is very quick. A nice little execute onto open area. And have a look at that. M80 will not have any of it. They fall back immediately.
They must have some pre-placed drones somewhere. 3 players are currently on them. Turd, Aspie, and Mentalist all on it. But having opened up the map, they can now make their way in, use all the hard breach charges they might need. And with a whole minute and 45 seconds left to go as well, there is a lot of time for them to have a think about what they want to do next. It's Kino on the top of the blue stairs to put the first point of contest. If they decide to do a service-sided push, Hoven's just gone and spotted him.
Good position on the blue stairs at the moment for Kino. He has been droned out. How long will he be able to hold on to this position? Elsewhere, looks like there's a bit of pressure onto Garage. Kino's actually going to try and give himself an opportunity to escape. If you say that, the hatches are being opened up. Bleed have made pretty good headway, but the thing is here, Mandy, you got 2 C4s, 2 impact grenades, and 3 gas babes to deny the plant in that late round.
They might have taken too long. Only now are they starting to pivot and then clear up Kino with only 50 seconds left to do it. Oh, where did he come from? Hello, backstabbed is Kino, and he's taken down. 45 seconds left to go. Man advantage, but Spoit's on the other side of this mirror with the Warden utility in his hands. He will be able to see through all the flashbangs and all the smokes that Turd's got.
But there is a safe spot to plant for Bleed where they will not be vulnerable to that mirror window. They will need a C4 to deny this. Mentalist halfway done. Where are the C4s? There's nothing! Iconic, far too little and far too late as Gomez finally gets the first kill of the round for M80, but they will need so much more than that. A miracle required as Gomez decides to go for a flank, but he's doing it into all these track stingers. He's caught in the web that Bleed have stitched up for him, and Bleed can simply hold in the post plan. Aspie finds one, Mentalist locks it in, Spoit the last one left, but there is nothing that can save him. Bleed have been indomitable, and Hoven is the final knife in their back.
Guys, that's exactly what we talk about. We are going too fast. These guys just don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Some choice words from Reeves, and honestly, looking at that, it certainly looks like at the moment that Iconic went down on the smoke, they no longer had reliable plant deny utility. The only thing that they had was 2 C4s, and when you're playing in this LAN environment, when there's so much going on around you, a lot of the time you're not going to hear it. You are not going to hear that plant sound going down in the chaos of the round when your team's probably coming to you. They're going for the execute. They're going to execute. You've probably got 4 people screaming in your ear while the 2 C4 players have no idea that the plant is going down because, like you pointed out, it was in the blind spot to the mirror, and Kino had gone down early with those smoke babes.
Damn. What a juxtaposition. Iconic was the Batman on Six Invitational main stage just earlier this year, and what a different expression we see from him now, down 5-2 to a bunch of guys from the Asia-Pacific region. I mean, this is really an eclectic mix, by the way. You've got two Chinese players in Reaps and Mentalist. You've got Hoven from Indonesia, Asfi is from Singapore, and Turdster from New Zealand. So the very eclectic mix that you've got here. And the only ones that have ever played at an international event before are Mentalist from back in the Airwolf days with Tokoname, and Reaps from his one major experience in Yeonchoping last year.
Certainly an interesting bunch, and one that I really felt like they missed the opportunity in stage 1 in Copenhagen. It's really exciting to finally see them have that chance at the international stage here in Atlanta, and they are proving to us why they deserve to be here.
I also forgot Hoven was on Gaming Gladiators in Berlin.
Yeah.
Cannot forget that. And he's been the man of the hour here, 10 kills in 7 rounds.
Here he goes, Special Drone Squad rollout. Both the Rotero drones and the Twitch drones are going to make work through this mid-round, slowly and steady, but surely. Hoven's taken down at the top of Spiral Stairs, but Asvi's still going to make use of his on the other side. I can only imagine he's probably sent his over on Stock side, try and clear out the shield that's gone down there, or whatever utility might be stopping Mentalist from getting the hard breach on the wall.
I think this has got to be the slowest round we've seen from Bleed so far. On their previous attack, they were very pacey at taking map control, but it's a very different beast here on this top floor. It's about clearing these power positions and putting some pressure on. And Iconic is expecting some form of a roam game, some form of alert game from the defense, perhaps going down below with grenades, but he's got that call wrong. And at the moment, his roam isn't really affecting much.
Bleed have actually done quite well here. Not only have they just cleared out the stock hallway shield, but they're even starting to make headway on some of the stuff that's going on down in the bomb side, off the back of those Rotero drones that Asfi has got. Mentalist now has a couple options with his hard breach. Does he want to try and open up the main breach in the wall, or try and work some of those repels, even try and put more pressure on in the stock hallway with those X-Kairos? There's a lot that Bleed could do here, but with the time ticking away, there's not a lot of, well, room for them to go and do it, and they're going to try and repel it instead.
Okay. Well, this is one way to get the job done. Hoven, one shot, a second shot. He is traded back, and that might make this a more winnable round for M80. They really should have won this round, and it looks like they will indeed. Gomez, a triple kill, staving off that attempted late round rush. It's all up to the young gunner, 19 years old. His birthday just the other day. Turdster, he talks a lot of smack. Let's see if he can back it up in the 1v3.
Very premature execute, in my opinion, from Bleed. I really felt like they had the opportunity to do a lot more with the bomb site before they actually hit it, especially with how much utility they had. It just didn't feel like it was totally used. Turd in the 1 versus 3. You can probably get one, maybe, perhaps. Oh, or maybe you can't. Iconic's just going to run for it. Fair enough. Keep your KD.
There you go. That's the rounds.
Let's turn up, boys. Come on.
Yeah, it's good. That's good from M80. M80, they really have to be on the ball there. At some point, Bleed are going to make a mistake like that and jump the gun. And they have to be ready for that.
I want to see you finish this game out! I want to see you finish! I want to see you finish! Go to 7! Go to 7 now! I want to see you finish! I go to 7! Okay?
What are you saying, bro?
I fucking dare you!
What is he saying, bro? You know the meme of the cat that like looks over the fence and he's like standing on his two legs? What's going on over there?
I would love to be a fly on the wall in that studio right now.
Oh
But
god.
Hoven and Asfi, I believe it was Hoven and Asfi, were yelling some mad smack after Reaps' clutch. And it looks like Bodega says, hey, that goes both ways. I want to see you go to 7.
Exciting game this has been so far between these two teams, really egging each other on in the comms, both sides. Hoven really, he almost made this repellent push work, claiming 2, but like I said, it just felt like they didn't have a whole lot of options on the entries. Yeah, Gomez was in such a good spot. He was really so safe inside of meeting. They had a lot of options, actually, I feel like, to pressure out Gomez in his position and meeting with all the hard breach they had. Even all the way top square control as well. It felt like they could have challenged it, but alas, M80, they could hold on.
Yeah, they can, but they don't have forever, right? Eventually, they're going to have to go back down to Locker's CCTV, and it looks like that's going to be where they go now. Will they hold on longer to this roam, Mandy? Because In the first attack for Bleed, they were incredibly quick. They took that map control. M80 forfeited, and it meant that there was a door open for a solid round, a solid attack onto the basement.
Quite like this from M80. They're being really brave here with the defensive strategy that they've brought. They've basically extended through all 3 floors of the map. Not just that, but this second floor, or the ground floor, is very much opened up to the defense as well. Lots of lines aside that's going to make lobby control really tough to get. Reefs, though, bottom square control seems to have been opened up to him. Makino's there on the other side, SMG-11 in hand. But he's going to be taken out by Reefs over on that window, and it's going to put Bleed in the man advantage.
Another critical death for Kino, but you know what's more important, Mandy? The smokes are gone.
Again.
With no impact, barely any delayed time, Bleed will be laughing at that massive advantage they have just garnered for themselves. Now, Spoit might have an opportunity here to redeem themselves. A minute 37 on the clock. The plant is going down. Where is the plant denial? Iconic, he's got no bloody clue. 3v5 now as M80 must retake. Spoit still on his roam upstairs. If only he was on site to support his teammates. Now, Bleed, all they need to do is hold on, and Mentalist does just that. And as Spoit falls, it seems like M80's chances are looking grim.
Their plans were completely spoiled by Bleed. They went for this super ambitious hold throughout the entire map. But what was the one hole in that strategy? Bottom square. Reefs immediately injects himself inside of there. Mentalist is thinking, you are in the perfect cutoff position right now, Reefs. I'm going for the plant. And they have no idea that I'm going for the plant because Hoven was down there with the buck. He opened up the wall by himself and he went, there it is. There's the plant spot.
That's free.
That is free. That is literally what he calls to his team, and Mentalist trusted in his teammates and just went straight for it. M80 completely caught off guard.
And what are they saying now, I wonder? Quiet on both fronts. M80, this is one of the best that North America has to offer, and they sit in silence, staring down 3 match points against Bleed on their major debut.
Here we go, M80.
Are you scared, Batman?
Is that not the face of fear? I don't know. Spoit looks kind of nervous there, yo.
Batman, are you scared?
Bomb located by attackers.
These guys are like, they're literally like, they are the villains. Bleed are, like, this is the Joker arc for this squad. Yeah, if Iconic is Batman, then yeah, there's no doubt who the Joker is in this game.
Bleed on what is potentially their final attack onto open area, and staff room will be potentially the final bomb site of choice for M80. But look at Bleed. They're really having a think now with the glass in hand about just hitting the bomb site. Changing up the pace once again, exploiting the fact that M80 just really aren't there. Where's the presence?
Oh, it's a rush once again. You're right. Reeps has gone in. He hasn't found a kill as of yet. He's in a very awkward position. Iconic does not want to overpeak. He has a spray. He lands the shot. The kill he will not know about as of yet, but it does put a thorn in the side for Bleed.
They've messed up. Iconic able to shut that one down. It's Reeps to go down at the expense of what was an attempted rush, but Mentalist is going to get down in through the bottom of Electrical, but so does Turd, and so does Asfi. Asfi actually pops off with a kill, but not before being traded back, so man advantage still in the favor of M80 coming into this mid-round.
But M80 still their nerve, which is critical here, because if they had over-aggressed, if all of these roamers had quickly tried to get back to site, for example, Spoit, if he tried to make his way back, then Turd definitely would have caught him out and opened up the round once again for Bleed. M80 have the numbers advantage, but there's good information here for Bleed to make something work.
But Spoit and Iconic, they're in such great spots here. Even if they try and make something work from the bottom square, they have to worry about Spoit with his flank coming in through top square with the rotation hole he's made. And Iconic so far has just done such a good job at keeping the site at bay and making sure it's safe. But here goes Turd on his play in through bottom square, the position that we were just talking about, the space that's been given to them. But it could be a false sense of security. Spoit's still there on the top floor.
Turd heard those as Army Keeper barriers be deployed, but I don't think he knew where they were. Now he's looking to make something work in through archives. He's actually right close to the site. He can peek on inside. Will he be able to find something? Meanwhile, Mentalist has made his way into kitchen as well. Hoven has gone down, but I think Turts has got a great position. He is traded on back. Mentalist to trade again. 1v3, and Gomez is there with the reply.
You wanna know he's so bad, right? You wanna know he's so bad? Let's see how you finish this game now! Ah!
Solid hold there from M80.
Let's see you joking this. I wanna see you joking this. I wanna see you joking this, Mentalist!
I want to see your Joker face.
No, I thought he said, I want to see you choking this Mentalist.
Is that what he said?
I thought that's what he said at the end there. The mind games between these two
take
teams.
that.
Good fun. I like it. Nice stuff there from M80, taming the beast of Bleed as they tried to change up the tempo for the final round. Actually, not really changing up the tempo, going by Bleed tempo in the final round, but not to be. M80 can claim that one. Iconic in a really great position to actually shut down the rush that came through, and then Spoiz as well with his backstab. I thought that was really what they needed to make sure that nothing was successful for Bleed.
I do feel like these last couple of rounds, despite M80 having some critical errors, particularly in the basement, you just look at the faces of the players. Yeah, none of them are crazy fired up like Bodega is behind them. But I do feel like they've got a renewed sense of confidence. Like they're starting to look a little bit more at peace with the situation they found themselves in and are simply focusing on fixing that situation.
That's exactly right. You have to admire the tenacity of this team. Basically, you're getting beaten up by a bunch of like, who? You know, where'd they come from? I don't know, all across the world, but I mean, literally the other side of the world. Never seen them before. These guys come from like playing scrims in like 120 ping to go playing on LAN, and they're beating you. That's like, that's rough, you know?
Yeah. And I think if you're an APAC fan, you're going to be very happy to finally see Bleed doing something, because Direwolves, Gaming Gladiators, and IG died for this, essentially. Like, ever since Reaps left, Direwolves have not been the same. Mentalist, of course, formerly of both Fnatic and Invictus. Hoven from Gaming Gladiators. A lot of great teams that are either a shadow of their former selves or no longer exist. We used to have so many strong teams in the APAC region until it cannibalized itself and we got Bleed. In stage one, they failed to make it to the major at the final hurdle, losing to Fury in the playoffs. And now they're here, and by God, they're making a statement.
Here goes M80 though. They're really putting the pressure on this ground floor and making it tough for Bleed to make that translation in from the entry through to the mid rounds. It's stunting them at the moment as Mentalist, he really wants to jump his way on into square, but not before the hatches get open and the vertical pressure is there from Hoven. Hoven's really going to be the deal maker here inside of this mid round, making sure there are no players on the ground floor that can be safe.
Oh, Reaps, he timed this poorly. Oh, he's so lucky. On the other side though, Kino maybe not so keen to peek with how many unfortunate mishaps he's found himself in this round, or this game rather. Round after round, Kino being a pivotal player and dying in a key position too early.
Once again, I suppose the first player potentially to die here once again as the smoke, and that would be disastrous really. You don't want to lose that early. Instead though, knowing that he's been picked up a couple times, is going to dedicate it to the blue possession instead of playing into that roam game that his teammates were doing earlier on. Reaps doing a little bit of a dance with the player on the bomb site, that's Spoit, who takes a little bit off his HP, but his finger can heal that back up.
Yeah, here's good droning from Reaps as well. He's spotted that player. It's Kino. Actually doesn't manage to take down the drone, it looks. He's going to use his last gas babe with 50 seconds left to try and burn another little bit of time. And Hoven's just going to go straight for it. We've seen this work in his favor before, and it looks like lightning will indeed strike twice. It is the same story once again for Bleed.
Wall open as well, and even though there's BP facing them, actually this time they've got a whole lot less time to do it. Even though the smokes have gone down, they need to make this translation work, probably through a flood. There's not a whole lot of time that they have to waste. That being said, Iconic has wasted his C4, so if they do want to go for a plant, they might be able to.
The numbers advantage once again regained. Bleed sharpen their shivs as they go for the plant. On the 3-on-3, Aspie needs to win this fight because elsewhere Turtster is all alone. The diffuser is down on the ground. Spoit and Diaz have made this work. Spoit has been beautiful, but it's all up to Diaz. Can the young gunner win in the 1v1? A final twist of the knife as North America bleed until nothing remains. One of the biggest upsets we've seen at the tournament. Bleed take down M80.
And what an incredible match that